Hi, how are you today?
I'm so good. How are you?
Oh, good to be alive. Thank you for asking. Thank you so much for being here. I appreciate you.
No, I appreciate you.
Oh, you're welcome. You're welcome. My pleasure. Let's get right down to it.
Absolutely.
Which do you love more? Would you say fitness or martial arts?
Oh gosh, you just hit me with a tough question. I would say definitely martial arts. I
Okay.
love fitness because I started off with fitness.
Hmm.
Both of my parents are personal trainers, and they
Nice.
actually taught me how to be a personal trainer as well. And
Okay.
I was thinking about going down that route, but martial arts is always going to be like my number one. It's my first love. So
Okay. Okay. Tell me how did you get involved with actually, well, you kind of answered the question. I think I was going to ask how did you first get involved with fitness, but you said both of your parents are personal trainers, so that answers
yes.
that question. As far as your parents are concerned, who started first, dad or mom?
They actually both started at the same time, but
Oh,
I actually think my dad started first. He started working at like a local gym, and then he got my mom into it, and
okay.
she just fell right into it. So yeah, they kind of started at the same time.
Okay.
So they've both been personal trainers for over 10 years now. So
Congratulations to them. Wow. Okay.
yeah,
Okay.
thanks.
You're welcome. Now, do either of them train martial arts as well? Because you know my next question coming is going to be how did you get into martial arts?
My dad actually just has loved martial arts his whole life. Like he was super into like Bruce Lee, and all those types of movies. And he just was like, like you need a hobby. Like, I was 15 when I first got literally thrown into it. Like they just they literally just put me in the car and we're like, okay, we're going somewhere. And I had no idea what I was about to get into. But then we stopped at a martial arts school and they were like, all right, well, this is what you're going to be doing from now on for the whole summer. Um, and I literally hated it at first because I was so uncomfortable, like being barefoot, wearing this like little gi that like felt like a robe. It felt like pajamas. But then one day I just fell in love with it once I
Okay.
saw like martial arts in action at my belt test, at my
Mhm.
first belt test.
Mhm.
And I just said, from this day on, like I'm gonna dedicate my whole life to this, and
Okay.
I did. So,
Wow. Wow. Now, what is it about Tae Kwon Do in particular that caught your attention?
besides it being my first love, it just gives me this drive, this motivation like nothing else ever has. I can literally recall the day just I felt this like spark in my heart, like,
Okay.
and I never felt that before. Like that was the first time that I had ever felt real passion.
Hmm.
So I think it's just always gonna stick with me because, like I said, it's like the first thing that I learned.
Okay.
And I don't know. I think it's just so beautiful. It's such a beautiful art.
Okay. Have you trained anything other than TKD?
Yes, I do kickboxing, Muay Thai, and I did a little bit of jujitsu at my old school.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Now do you now I know that Taekwondo is your main area, and that's the one that you that's the passion and that's the one you do the most. But do you, for an example, still practice your BJJ just to kind of stay a little current with it to be able to, if you have to
I
test it?
do. I do. I try to do it with my husband, but
Okay.
sometimes
What?
I kind of rough him up. Sometimes I kind of rough him up.
Oh my
He
gosh.
probably he prefers like holding paddles and mitts and stuff. So
Okay.
that's kind of where we're at. I did just move to Boise like less than a year ago. It's
Okay.
almost been a year. So I've been trying to find a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu school,
Hmm.
but I just haven't found the school that just really like speaks to my heart. So
Okay. Okay. Why are your husband giving you this love and support and with the trainer? Why are you roughing him up, Essence? What is this?
I have nobody. I need to let my anger out.
Poor guy. God bless him. I'll be
Poor
praying
guy.
for him. Now, is he a martial artist as well?
He's not officially a martial artist, but I pretty much taught him like everything that I know. Like
Okay.
he's not the most flexible, but I've been working on him with his flexibility, and
Okay.
he knows like some basic things like front kick, roundhouse, side kick, and he
Sure.
knows like all the terminology and stuff. So
Okay. 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 Sounds good. Now, and it's
yeah,
interesting. I was going to get to that. You mentioned flexibility. Actually, I'll
yeah.
ask this first. Would you, now being that both of your parents are personal trainers and you were exposed to that environment, I would imagine that cultivated you to be an athlete. Would you say that you were the natural athlete before you started training martial arts, or tell me about that?
I would say for sure I was a natural athlete. Ever since I was younger, since about the age of 6, I always believed that I was going to do something with my legs.
Okay.
Like my whole family was just like, like you should do gymnastics. You're really flexible. Like,
okay.
I just one day started just like popping myself into the splits. I was watching like gymnastics videos, like self-taught. I always knew I was going to do something with my legs.
Okay.
And then having my parents as personal trainers definitely did help, because I got that like extra, athleticism from them. Like they would bring me to their studio to work with them, and I would train with them like maybe like 4 or 5 hours a day. So okay. I definitely, yeah.
Okay, good stuff. As far as your flexibility is concerned, some people are just naturally flexible, and some people have to work really hard for it. And even the people that are naturally flexible, there's still a regard of work involved. But even still, it's just like a person that has a gift. They have it, but you still have to cultivate it. So I said all that to say, your flexibility, is that something natural for you, or you had it before going into Taekwondo? You were super flexible. I mean, your kicks. Oh my gosh, you're welcome. Tell me about that. I mean, please.
Yeah, I definitely am naturally flexible. Like I said, I started to self-teach myself like gymnastics when I was younger.
Okay.
I was so into like Gabby Douglas and everything. Like she was my inspiration at the time.
Sure.
I wanted to be just like her, so I would practice my splits like maybe an hour a day. I was already flexible, but I wanted to make sure I had like both sides, middle splits, left, right. So I trained really hard on that. And then I actually did dance for about 3 years. I did jazz and ballet.
Oh, wow.
So that also definitely helped with my flexibility.
Okay. Jeez. Okay. So needless to say, doing the jazz, the ballet, having the natural flexibility, having the parents that are athletic and into the personal training, all of those things collaboratively, I mean, really set you to have a solid foundation going into your journey as a martial artist, would you say?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay. What would you say, what is your overall aspiration? You want to train and become a grandmaster? How far do you want to ride it?
I have so many different aspirations with what I want to do with martial arts. My biggest goal is to inspire millions, if I can, honestly. Sure. I want to inspire as many people as I can to get into fitness, to eat healthy, to be themselves, to do martial arts. And then my overall goal with training, I definitely do want to become a grandmaster.
Okay.
But right now, I actually don't have my black belt. I have been training for 8 years, but it's never been about the black belt for me, because I was actually on my way to get my black belt during my test, and I had something really unfortunate happen, and I ended up quitting going to that school, but I never stopped doing martial arts. And then I turned it into my own thing. I started with my Instagram. I started teaching on my subscriptions. It just never stopped, and I'm actually still going to a school, but it's never about the black belt or how many belts I can have. It's always about the passion for me. But I definitely do want to become a grandmaster. I obviously want to continue teaching, just showing people like what martial arts can do for your life.
Absolutely. And then, I mean, there's nothing like the testimony that you give by living it as the way that you have. And you've already inspired a multitude of people, I know. You're welcome. Thank you. Just for sharing that shine. And I've said it. I've lost count of how many times I've said it, but people see people like yourself that are talented at things, and they are in awe of you, but they don't understand that Essence had to work for it. Okay, you had flexibility, but still you had to work for it. You still got to work for it, and it's wonderful to have these kinds of conversations for people to hear about that other side of it. Because they see what you do, and she's good at it, and she was always good. No, you're telling some of your story, and that'll give them inspiration, because it's like, okay, if she can work through some things, then so can I. Absolutely.
I never want to be anything but authentic.
Sure.
So.
Sure. Now, I want to say I read something probably on your IG page where you said actress. What do you want to do with that?
Yeah, so I actually want to become a stunt actress.
Okay.
And I'm actually working on becoming a commercial actress at the moment.
Nice.
I've got some projects coming up.
Okay.
So that's really exciting.
Sure.
But yeah, I'm actually planning on moving to California within the next year so I can really pursue this dream of mine.
Okay. And it's interesting that you said stunt actress because I was going to ask you, do you think that you would like to emphasize the stunt woman aspect of it, or do you want to do the actress in terms of the action films, or I mean, how exactly did you want to slice it? So you would want to focus primarily on the stunt aspect then?
I think I do definitely want to focus on stunts. It's something that I've always been interested in, but I've
Sure.
never done before.
Okay.
Like I love sparring. That's something I've always loved, a part of martial arts. So
Okay.
yeah, definitely stunts.
You said something a little earlier on about gymnastics. Had you had actual formal gymnastics training?
I haven't. It was all self-taught.
Wow. What I mean, geez, I tell you what. Wow. What did you, I mean, you would go outside in the yard and get a mattress and flip, or how did you get it? Tell me about that.
Quite literally, I would go outside and just get a mattress and start flipping. I would watch like YouTube tutorials all the time. Like it
Sure.
started off with how to do a cartwheel, how to better your splits, like a stretching routine, how to do like what did I learn? How to do an aerial, how to do like tricks like that. And I would just go outside after school and just practice like religiously, like 3-4 hours a day. Like it was literally my favorite hobby.
By yourself?
By myself, yeah. Literally until I got it right. I would just practice diligently. So
I mean, and you know what's interesting? You mentioned YouTube. It's amazing. It's a lot of stuff on YouTube, and some good stuff actually that can walk you through, excuse me, how to do some things. So that's, I mean, you didn't have anybody. I mean, Essence, what if your parents would have come outside and you was upside your head on the ground or something? You didn't have your friend or somebody, just kind of keeping eyes on you.
that's exactly why I think I would be perfect for stunts, because I don't have any fear when it comes to that.
Oh my gosh, wow. Now, do you think that you would take some actual classes or go through a program as far as gymnastics is concerned, or are you satisfied with what you've accomplished?
I think I would get into like a tricking school where they teach like all types of acrobatics and stuff, like not just gymnastics, but like how to do martial arts and gymnastics kind of like in the same thing. Okay. That's kind of what tricking is.
Sure.
Because I've been kind of working on tricking, but I don't have a teacher. So yeah, I would love to do that. I would definitely think about a gymnastics class. Yeah.
Okay. I'll actually share a couple links with you. I had an opportunity to interview Joy Ilabeza Brown, and she's very known as far as the tricking community is concerned.
Oh, that would be awesome.
Sure, you're welcome. And then also, what is his name? He trains. We actually share a martial art, which is capoeira, and his capoeira name is Aranya. Yuriko Senna is his name. I interviewed him a while ago, and he does tricking and things in that realm as well. So yeah, when you said tricking, it caught my ear, and both of them came to mind. So yeah, good stuff.
Yeah, that would be so awesome.
Oh my gosh, it takes so much talent and skill. I mean, to do martial arts as a whole, but when you start doing stuff with the gymnastics, it's like wow.
Yeah, it's amazing to watch. Yeah,
it is. Now you're saying it's amazing to watch, but you're doing this. you are doing this stuff, So welcome to our world when we see you kicking up here, and kicking them boots in the snow and not falling over. You know what I mean? So
that was one of my favorite videos.
Yeah. Hey, ice and snow is unforgiving, so that says a lot about your control and your flexibility to be able to do what you've been doing. You're welcome. Do you have people, I'll ask you about people in terms of the martial arts community as well as in the entertainment industry that have influenced you, or that have kind of been people that you look to, that you want to emulate, with the exception of, I think you said
Absolutely.
okay.
My favorite martial artist, she also does tricking, is Reina. Reina, I think it's Reina Valadingham, if
Mm-hmm.
that's how you say her name. She has about
Okay.
like 2 million followers on Instagram.
Okay.
She is so incredible. She's like the female Bruce Lee. Like
Sure.
she does nunchucks, bow staff, like all the weapons. She does taekwondo, boxing. I think she does Muay Thai and a little bit of jiu-jitsu. So she's
Sure.
definitely my biggest inspiration.
Okay. Okay. Who's 2 and 3?
Um, Bruce Lee.
Okay. Okay.
Definitely Bruce Lee. Who else? Honestly, I would say I inspire myself
Okay.
at the end of
Okay.
the day.
Sure. Okay. Good stuff. I mean, looking back now, looking back to when you first began, could you see that you would be where you are now? Did you envision it, or,
I always just had this feeling, like, which is why I stuck with it. Like, since the day I fell in love with it, I just always had this feeling that, like, this is something I need to quite literally like live for. Like, and I do. So I just, whether I was good at something or not, I always had this passion in me. And I just thought, well, if I just keep sticking to it and just keep, honing in my skills, I'll eventually get there. I'll eventually get to where I need to be. So in a way, yes.
Okay. So taking it back to influencers, you said Bruce Lee. Is there anyone else within film that you look to, that you enjoy or admire?
Jean-Claude
Van Damme?
Oh, absolutely.
That's a classic. And with splits and that flexibility, yeah, I could see the admiration, Yeah.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, he's been around for
He's
a
an
number of years.
incredible martial artist. I love his movies so much.
And it's interesting. There are always people in different times that pioneer or bring attention to the martial arts. Back in like the 70s, you had people like Jim Kelly and Chuck Norris, and then Bruce Lee, of course. And then, later on, there came like Michael Jai White and Steven Seagal, just different instances. And then recent years, like people like Tony Jaa, and I can't remember the guy. Have you ever seen The Raid Redemption by chance?
I haven't. That's actually on my list to watch currently.
Okay. Yeah, it's a gentleman, Eco, I believe is his first name. I can't pronounce his last name, but he was the star of The Raid 1 and 2, and phenomenal. So it's interesting how there's always somebody to catch attention within decades, and like you say, Jean-Claude was definitely one of those guys.
Yeah, he was that guy.
Bloodsport, kickboxer. People knew those films and loved them then and still do now. For his contribution. So good stuff.
Yeah.
Tell me about your regimen of training in terms of we've got 7 days in a week. So how do you split that in terms of, and then with your fitness, do you do aerobic or do you go to the gym and lift weights?
I do. Okay, so for my training for Taekwondo and kickboxing, I train 5 days a week, Monday through Friday. Okay. I train about 3 to 4 hours a day.
Okay.
And then I always make time for my weapons training for my nunchucks.
Sure.
That's about 30 minutes to an hour a day. It really depends on if I have time, because I still have like filming and stuff. And then as far as like my fitness, I do strength training. I do TRX and HIIT training the most.
Okay.
And I do that about an hour every day, like 5 times a week. So
nice. Okay, so you solid 5 days, 2 days rest.
Yes.
Okay, good deal. How do you feel in your body?
I feel good.
Good.
I feel great. I feel loose.
Okay, so now of course you stretch. Of course you stretch during the week with your sessions. Do you like on the weekend stretch as well?
I do, because now that I'm getting older, I noticed like when I wasn't stretching on the weekends, I was kind of losing my flexibility. So
that's interesting. Now,
I feel like flexibility is that one thing where like if you're not always, practicing your flexibility, like you're gonna lose it. So especially when you get older.
sure, it's oh my gosh, don't get me started on it, especially when you get older.
Yeah.
Nope, it's true. If you don't use it, you lose it.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
That's true. But the other side of that is the muscle memorization. And if you lose it when you start training or doing certain things, those things come back actually pretty quick.
They do. Yeah.
It's astonishing how God put us together to be able to do those things, for sure.
Yes.
Oh my gosh. What would you say are your two favorite films?
Bloodsport.
Okay.
And definitely The Karate Kid. It sounds silly, but
No, not at
The
all.
Karate Kid is such a good movie.
Definitely. And it's funny watching something like that as a child and then watching it as an adult, as a martial artist, you see what Mr. Miyagi was teaching them, in terms of the outside block and all that good stuff. So yeah, do you find that, side note, do you find that you watch films differently as a martial artist versus how you watched them before you started training?
Yes and no. I remember when I first watched The Karate Kid, I thought, wow, like I want to be like this. Like this is something new.
Sure.
And I would like go in my room and like try to like practice the moves and stuff. And now when I watch it, I definitely see like the message that the movies are trying to convey. Okay. So I don't know. I'd say it's about the same.
Okay. Now we spoke about influencers in terms of celebrity. You touched on Van Damme. As far as actors or actresses, do you have any other people that you enjoy that you've drawn influence from?
At the moment, no. I'm trying to actually find who inspires me. I've been watching a ton of movies, a ton of martial arts movies, just kind of adding them to my list and just trying to see like who inspires me the most. But for me, it's always going to be Bruce Lee. It's always going to be Bruce Lee.
Yeah, no, absolutely, for sure. Essence, what is a word of encouragement or advice that you have for someone that's experiencing a tough time?
I always tell people, life is just full of ups and downs. We can never always be happy. I feel like when you're down and then you have like a moment of getting happy again, like you really appreciate the times when you were down because I don't know.
Okay. And what is a word of encouragement or advice that you wish someone had shared with you when you experienced a tough time?
That it does get better. It always gets better. No matter what you feel, no matter what you think in that moment, it always gets better.
Okay, good stuff. Well, Essence, I want to thank you again so much for taking some time out of your busy schedule to have a conversation with me. I definitely appreciate it. Also, thank you for me and on the behalf of others that cannot thank you for the encouragement that you've given by setting the example that you do in that hard work that you put in with your training. I mean, it's very inspirational, and please keep sharing that shine.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So thank you again for your time and have a wonderful day.
Thank you. You too.
You're welcome. Thank you.